All right, Ben, go ahead.
Hey, Dorian.
What's going on?
Do you feel a sense of satisfaction knowing you got to game week, or are you still kind of on edge about the game being played?
Again, taking it day by day. Things can change. With COVID day to day. So just taking it day by day. Right now, I'm focused on tomorrow and getting back to tomorrow's practice. So,
What would you say you're the most proud of as far as what you guys persevered to get to this point?
I'd say just how guys handle things. I think the phrase "taking it day by day" was really approached by everybody on the team. It was really a team thing, and so I think guys really took that approach, and it worked out well for us.
And then one more follow-up. What kind of concerns you the most going forward between now and game time? I mean, obviously you guys just had a false positive you guys learned about on the team. I'm sure that was kind of anxiety provoking. Well, what concerns you the most about getting to Saturday and making it to kickoff?
Right now, I don't have any concerns. Like I said, I'm going to control what I can control, and that's coming out here every day and working hard as I can. So I know my teammates are doing the same thing, so I don't have to worry about any positives over here. If anything, just over there at Colorado, I don't know what they're doing or how they're handling things over there. So, but right now I'm just controlling what I can control, which is what I do out here at practice. So,
Thank you.
Tony.
Hey, Dorian. Since you guys have had kind of like a shortened camp, practice setup, whatever, is there anything you feel like you guys have had to rush through in order to get ready now that you're in game week prep?
not at all. We've added a few wrinkles here and there for the game plan, but other than that, it's the same old core stuff we've been repping since the past 2 or 3 years now. So, I feel like we're good on the game plan and everything that's going in, and we're moving at a nice, smooth pace. So.
How do the backups look so far to you when you see them take snaps, the chases and so on? How are they looking?
Yeah, both chasers know that they're in competition for that second string spot, and they're both handling it really well. Like I said, always asking me questions and asking each other questions and not being immature about the situation. And I told both those guys, anything could happen throughout the season. So they both got to be ready, and they know that, and they're preparing like that. So.
All right, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Let's go to Tracy.
Hey, Dorian, what are you seeing as some of the marked improvements in the offense from when you started camp to now, and maybe specifically talk about the offensive line in that context?
Yeah, I think everybody's more fluent with each other, moving as one piece. When you're in quarantine and stuff like that, it's more of an individual basis. Now that we're had 4 weeks to get together as a team and rep that every day, I think that's really been the biggest improvement. It's just, getting that chemistry all back together as one and really moving as one team now.
How about from the defense, since you're facing them every day, and how have you've obviously must have scrimmaged by now. How have the two units gone against each other?
Yeah, it's been really competitive. I'd say it's been the most competitive camp I've been in so far. And those guys are really getting after it, especially the secondary, as well as the D-line and linebacker. So everybody's moving as one on that side of the ball as well, too. So.
Would you say some of the new guys that have come in, like the transfers and even the true freshmen, have kind of lit a fire in this program? Like we've been told that Q Knight is a guy that always gets everyone up. Would you say what have they offered from a morale standpoint?
Yeah, just bringing that veteran leadership, and obviously been at different places. He transferred from Maryland over there to Kent State too. So just being at different places, being at a different perspective, he brings that all to the table, and he brings that with him every day. And, he lets us know that, and he's actually been embedded in our squad leaders and being a real leader that way too. So we're really excited to have him, as well as all the other transfers too. So.
Thanks.
Let's go to Joe Reedy.
Dorian, just how much were you guys able to scrimmage here during the preseason workouts, and were they similar to what you guys would do in August?
We were going against the ones every day, and so I'd say we got to scrimmage a good handful of times, and really getting to go good on good. a bunch of times and really getting to have the refs out here and have a game type atmosphere and get that feeling and stuff going in. So.
And then just how much have you guys started preparations for Colorado?
We've been prepping since the end of last week. And so this week is basically game week now. We started our Monday's practice today. And so we're all full on Colorado now. Camp's over.
Okay, thanks.
Let's go to Jack Perez.
Hey Dorian, recently you posted a YouTube video that you said got taken down and you had to repost it. What was the reason for that?
I have no comment on that. Yeah, I have no comment on that.
Let's go to Mike Regalado.
Hi, Dorian. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have two questions. Last season, you had an unfortunate amount of turnovers. What have you done to make sure that doesn't happen again? And because you had really good offensive numbers, just unfortunate number of turnovers. And secondly, how is your confidence in your third year? Like, do you just feel like you've completely mastered this offense, or is there still a little bit more you have to go?
Yeah, in terms of turnovers, getting out with the running backs. And they have a rule, if they drop the ball or anything in practice, they got rolls after practice. So it's the same with me, same with all the other quarterbacks. That's the standard we set. And so I think that's one of the biggest ways that I've, limited the turnovers is, punishing myself after every one and stuff like that. And so I don't think I fumbled or anything or threw a pick or anything this whole camp. So I'm really proud of that. And then in terms of confidence levels, the confidence in the whole offense, I think, it takes the 10 other guys to make me look good. And so just having those guys being really confident, it shows in my game too. So just knowing that they know where they're going to be and knowing that I'm going to put the ball in them at the right time. I think just having that all connect together is where the confidence comes from. So I'm really confident going into year 3.
Let's go to Samuel In.
Going back to your YouTube channel for a second, I know former UCF kicker Destroying was featured on your channel last month.
Yes.
I'm sure you know about his fight with the NCAA, and I know you've been trying to grow your own channel this year.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask specifically about your channel. Is it currently monetized, and what lessons have you learned from Destroying about walking the line between growing your YouTube brand and complying with the NCAA?
Yeah, I want to start by saying Destroying is one of my good friends now. We've grown a lot together throughout this whole quarantine stuff. And so he's taught me a lot about both the NCAA and the YouTube side and all that stuff. But my YouTube channel is not monetized at all. I do not make any money off of YouTube and all that stuff. So I just do that for fun and to kind of grow my personal brand that way. But in terms of just advice and stuff, Destroying has done a great job with that, really giving me advice and treating me as a younger brother. So.
And quick follow-up, has the NCAA restricted you either directly or indirectly from making specific videos on specific topics, or have you been as creative as you want to be?
No, I've been as creative as I want to be. Our compliance office does a really good job of, alerting me of certain stuff or telling me certain things here and there. But for the most part, what I do is fine and all in the guidelines and stuff like that. And as soon as I made the channel my freshman year, our compliance office sent me a big old list of the guidelines and stuff to follow. So I had already knew about all the rules and everything like that. So.
And if there were no regulations, would you be monetized right now?
Yes, if there were no guidelines or regulations, I would be monetized, yes.
Ben.
It's no secret you guys have gotten off to kind of slow starts the last 2 years. Have you guys done anything different going into this year to kind of mix it up, maybe more live periods, a scrimmage, or anything different? And what's it going to take to get off to a good fast start this year?
I don't think we're going to do anything different. I think now it's just everybody knows exactly what they're doing on exactly every play. So I expect to get off to a fast start. I expect everybody to move off the ball a lot faster and get to their spots a lot faster. And I think that'll turn everything around in terms of these next upcoming weeks and all that stuff. So.
And one other thing, you guys have had a record number of guys make the honor roll. You've made it yourself. How much emphasis does Coach Kelly put on grades, and how much does that kind of go on your mind versus obviously you want to do well for yourself, but how much is it kind of prioritized?
Yeah, I think just going back to being a recruit, I think you come to a school like this to have high grades, to be an academic scholar and all that stuff that comes a part of being a UCLA Bruin. And Coach Kelly knows that. That's why he chose a place like this. And so obviously he puts a high emphasis on it. We put a high emphasis on it ourselves as student athletes. And so I think that's where it all comes from is just wanting to choose this place for what it is.
And your mom's going to be at the game Saturday. How much does that mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. I know she signed a petition and all that stuff that she could to try and get parents out there here in LA. So it'll be something special to have her and some of my other family members out there too. So
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time, Dorian.
thank you. What's up, guys?
All right. Questions for Bo Calvert. Let's start with Ben. Oh, there you go.
What's up, Bo?
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Hey, do you kind of feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that you got to game week amid everything that's happening, or would you still say you're kind of on edge about actually, getting to kickoff?
I mean, I would say I think not much has changed around here. It's been a lot different, obviously compared to a normal year. We're not going to classes in person and whatnot. So majority of this stuff is, we're just kind of seeing it, guys. So it almost feels like as if, the routine of camp is still going, but, now we're looking at more specific things against Colorado, you know what I mean? But, pretty much the vibe is obviously turned up. Guys are getting, a lot more energy going into game week. But as far as your daily life, I don't think much changes. We were talking yesterday with some of the guys. Obviously, it was Halloween, and we had practice early this morning. So, I haven't really celebrated Halloween in a long time just because it always falls in the middle of football season. But it was extra different this year. You just had to, kind of it fall on a Saturday. So obviously, you got the extra time. But there's nobody around here, so it was almost easier. You kind of just sat in your room and there wasn't much distractions. You know what I mean?
How big of a kind of collective sigh of relief did you guys have that the person who tested positive was shown to be negative?
Yeah, I mean, I think our medical staff does a really good job around here with all that stuff. Get tested every day, and then if there's any sign of anything, guys are immediately quarantined or put in positions where they can't harm other guys. So I think they handled it really well. I think either way, it did turn out the other way. I think a lot of guys would have been safe, but obviously it's great that, we actually didn't have a positive test. It was kind of a false alarm.
Let's go to Mike.
Morning, Bo.
Hey, Mike.
How we've heard from a lot of the defenders. I mean, even some of the offensive guys too, and they said that there hasn't been much change with the scheme going to a 4-2-5. But we've heard about you got the defense is being more aggressive. They are quote unquote flying around. With 1 week until your first game, what is your perspective on the defense right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, in the spring, defenses and offenses alike try different things, all sorts of different things, and put yourself in different types of looks and whatnot. So we've been running all kinds of different stuff, and obviously we're gonna have to wait to see in Colorado what's actually coming out. Biggest thing I'm happy to see, like you said, it's been mentioned a lot of times, and it's kind of a recurring theme, and is getting guys to fly around. So what that means is just play fast and play strong. And I think the guys that we have are obviously a more mature group as far as age wise than we've had in years past. So guys are able to play with a lot more confidence, and they can see things faster, and it just makes an experience being as the Mike linebacker a lot more enjoyable, just because you're able to make calls and whatnot, and you're sort of the quarterback out there with the DBs and the O line, or the D line, excuse me. But guys are able to do on their own. You don't got to really tell guys what to do anymore. So I think that's been the best thing that I've seen is guys really being on top of their stuff.
Joe Reedy.
Bo, is it more excitement or relief that you guys have now gotten to the first game?
I would say, I mean, I think everybody gets excited for your first game, right? But in normal times, but obviously with COVID, it's a little more of a relief, right? So I'd say it's both relief that, you know, we made it successfully through camp, like you mentioned, with no problems with COVID. And then obviously excitement to be able to get out there and play. You know, there was a lot of ups and downs in the off season that I experienced, and, you know, I'm sure other guys experience all over the nation, wondering whether we're going to play or not, you know, wondering when we're going to get back, what's that going to look like. So getting into a routine of real football and realizing that, you know, it's go time and we're going to play a real game here in 6 days. I think super exciting. I think that's something that guys look forward to all year round. If you're a real guy, you know, you're kind of the whole year you're dreaming about that first game. You're thinking about making plays. You're thinking about, you know, when you're working out in the weight room on those long winter days with your guys, what's it going to look like? What am I going to look like when we get out here? And so when you get 6 days out, I think you kind of realize, all right, you know, I've done the work now, and, you know, there's nothing really else I can do. It's just time to play.
Have you guys really been chomping at the bit maybe the past couple weeks, seeing the Big Ten and Mountain West get going here?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that there's no other time, you know, in the history of sport in college football where, you know, there's some guys who are just sitting around on Saturday, you know, not playing any games while other guys are playing games, you know. So that was definitely an odd experience watching, you know, the SEC, the Big Ten, and other, you know, conferences get after it in college football, and us kind of still stuck in camp. So, you know, at this point, we're starting our game, and, you know, everything's getting back to normal. So I think that's a little reassuring, being able to have everybody playing now and not be the odd guy out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Sam Connon.
Hey, Bo, how you doing?
Hey, Sam.
So you were talking about how kind of like Halloween this year, like you were just kind of staying in. How does that affect like practice with your teammates? Like, does that like make it more of a social event being at practice with guys who, because of COVID, maybe you're not seeing that much of?
Yeah, I mean, you know, nobody's dressing up around here, so it's not that social. But yeah, it's definitely it's tough. Obviously, in COVID times, you know, just everybody's not able to really socialize in the same capacity that we were, you know, previously, and you don't see a lot of people. Normally in camp, you know, you're kind of locked away from your families, and you're locked away from other students, because usually we're not in school, you know, and in the quarter system. And so you get really close with your guys. But I think this camp we've gotten particularly, you know, more close, I would say, than in years prior, just because of all the adversity we've had to face together. You know, days coming in previously in the summer where, you know, we didn't know whether we were ever going to be able to go inside the building again this season, or if we were going to be able to use the weight room, or, you know, if we could, simple things you overlook, being able to go in the cold tubs or just take a shower here, you know. And so all those little things you start appreciating more and more. And then, you know, obviously, you know, the biggest we're talking now is just the social aspect, being able to have, you know, a group of guys that, you know, y'all get tested, and, you know, so that's out of the way. You're not worried about getting COVID from these guys, and you can just have fun and play football. This is a fun game to play. And a lot of guys, you know, of places kind of overlook that, and you can get lost in the seriousness and the business of football, but it's a fun thing coming out here. And so I think that's an important thing to remember every day.
And then I know last year, past couple of years, the music at practice during Halloween week maybe got a little on theme, some spooky music. Did you have any of that this year?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear any of that this year. I was a little more focused on looking at the film against Colorado, but we'll see how it turns out. Maybe, you know, in the week coming up, maybe we might get some jams coming in there.
All right, just a couple more questions. Let's go to Rick.
Hi, Bo.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. Be our eyeballs for us, since we're not allowed to go to practice. Who's at the linebacker spot, especially? Who's looking pretty good? and the DBs and the defense in general? Who's making plays out there?
I mean, obviously, we have a lot of returners on, the back end and me and Langer are coming back. So there's a lot of experience that comes in with. I think, watching Q Lake, particularly everything he dealt with last year, with his injury to his hand and not being able to play, that's been really exciting to see him fly around. You got Q Knight coming in, transferring, a new guy brings a new energy to the defense. Sometimes you got to kind of calm down a little bit. He's a little bit of a fireball out there, but it's been nice to see him, obviously. And then, working with Osa on the D line, that's a guy who's, you just look at him, it's like, dude, this guy's a football player, So, being able to combine all those guys together and finally get a team where, like I said, we've been, for the most part, pretty, relatively injury free in fall camp. So being able to have a group that's made it through the whole time and been able to elevate their game, I think has been awesome to see.
Bo, you didn't get to play a lot last year. The one game you did an outstanding job. Talk to us about the hunger you must feel about getting back out on that field on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before to you guys last time. Obviously the last time I really, my freshman year, it was cut short. I had a couple concussions. Then obviously dealt with that, going forward into the next year. And, like you mentioned, I was only able to play against Cal. And so it's been a long time since I've had, going into a season where at least hopefully knock on wood, I'm playing the full season this year, and even, going back to my senior year in high school, I broke my leg in the middle of my senior year in high school. So really my last, full season that I've played was my junior year in high school. And, there's two ways to look at that. It's either, you kind of shy away and you think, man, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe, I'm dealing with all this crap and maybe I can't do it. And all those things go in your head. And then the other guy, on your other shoulder is thinking, hey man, you got this. And, you've been working at things for a really long time. You've showed you can play at a high level with this game. And at this point, it's just time to go out and show that. So that's something I think that, the mantra that I'm hearing in my head every day is trying to feed that good guy and, and choke out that bad guy that's on the other shoulder.
Tony.
Hey, Bo, how's it going?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, so you had kind of a shortened camp moving right into practice and prep week for Colorado. Does it feel like you guys have had to rush through things?
Not really, honestly. I mean, we, shorter in the sense of like what was actually designated as camp, but almost longer in that, when we first came back in June, we were just working out general strength and conditioning, and that's what you do normally in a normal year anyways. You're not really doing football in June and July. And then getting into August, obviously we were able to open up a lot more things. Pac-12 and the NCAA, allowed us to get some time in with our position coaches and on the field specifically. So we were able to get drills in and stuff like that. So in some ways, yes, I'd say, on paper, maybe the camp was shorter, but in the grand scheme of things, we're able to do, I think, a lot more football stuff for a longer period of time than we have in years prior. Obviously the pads, when you talk about put on the pads, that's obviously shorter than what we had before. But as far as just football stuff, I think we've been able to do more things than in the years prior.
Mike.
Looking at, obviously you're looking at the offense, every day. What are your thoughts on what they're doing? Dorian was telling us that, he's kind of mastered, but it has to do with, all 11 players. Are you seeing improvements from them from last season? And are the running backs, are they filling in for Joshua Kelly? Obviously it's going to be hard to fill in for Joshua Kelly, but how are they doing so far?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Dorian saying all 11 guys got to lock in. So it's a team sport. And, like I mentioned, the same thing on the defense is you got to have, a sort of a joint organism that's able to move and fluctuate and figure things out on the fly. So I think you've seen a lot of that with the guys this year. like my class specifically, was one of the biggest classes that we have. I think maybe even the biggest right now. And so we've been here for 3 years, and you see that on both defense and offense of the experience, as far as the receivers and, in the backfield of guys that have been here for a longer amount of time. And specifically Dorian, obviously playing from day one. So seeing him mature and seeing the way that they're able to communicate and, react to things and do different things has been awesome to see, and then you see, we're talking previously about the maturation process of guys, and seeing younger guys, Sean Ryan, obviously a freaking beast. I mean, he was a freshman All-American last year, coming back this year, and the dude's like yoked, like he's like jacked, you know what I mean? Like super strong and super quick. So, seeing that on your offensive line, obviously, makes you, gets you pretty pumped up to see what the offense is going to do this year.
All right, last one to Ben.
You talked a lot about growth and communication and guys flying around. Do you feel like all those things can kind of help to come together? You guys obviously have had slow starts the last 2 years. Maybe you'll be ahead of the game, so to speak, based on all those factors that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys like to make predictions about, how their year's going to be and how you're feeling going into game one, and I think a lot of that stuff is kind of silly, just based on the fact that everywhere around the country, everybody thinks they're going to be, national champs and before they play their first game, so, why would I think any different, so obviously I think we're going to kill it. So hopefully, we do great. But yeah, like I've said, I think the things that reassure those feelings that everybody feels is what I've mentioned. So yeah, in all seriousness, yeah, seeing guys fly around, seeing the communication, seeing guys have a chip on their shoulder, the excitement that you feel is reassured by the actual actions that you see in practice. So yeah, I do feel good.
All right. Thank you, Bo.
Thanks, guys.